Good morning, Dubai. Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai Show, where we go through the top trending stories that everyone across the country is talking about. Of course, big story today, a hero's welcome for Sultan Al Neyadi, who has finally landed back on UAE soil.
We'll also be talking about how you can be traveling by ship from the UAE to India.
The list that's got lots of people talking, we have what has been revealed, the most popular dishes in Dubai based on neighborhoods, but people are asking questions. They're questioning the accuracy of this list.
And after all of that, we'll be talking about Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week and how they'll be hosting COP28.
And also, later on in the show, Home Centre tackles remarriage with a unique movie. The sponsor of today's show is Home Centre, who've created a short film tackling remarriage, a taboo topic that affects so many of us. When we'll be joined by clinical psychologist and managing director at Lighthouse Arabia, Dr. Saliha Afridi, along with Mr. Siddharth Sivaprakash, head of marketing at Home Centre. More on this later in the show, and although Home Centre is the sponsor of the show, the thoughts and opinions are Lovin Dubai. Speaking of thoughts and opinions, stories going viral. Would love to get your thoughts on what you would do in this situation, and if you think what this guy did was above board. Is it okay, or was he just being an absolute meanie?
this is actually such an interesting story. But before that, we're live on Instagram, and Irfani is like, say my name, please.
Irfani, hey,
Irfani, good morning.
Irfani Ibrahim, welcome, Rockin7543. Good morning to you. Diane Shofi, Ian Nawab. Anyone who sends an emoji gets a big shout out. Hello to everyone on this Tuesday morning. It's 8:50. As we said, we're a little bit late, but your comments keep us going. We blame the traffic.
Oh my God, the traffic. Yesterday's apocalyptic weather. It turned orange. But okay, anyway. Putting that aside, a lottery winner, right, went in to claim his lottery prize wearing a Scream mask because he didn't want his family and friends knowing who he is. Because he's like, I would be obliged to share my lottery money with them, which, you know, like you don't want to do when you win all that money. You want to keep it to yourself. You want to spend it and invest it on all your things and not have to, you know, share.
I heard people are criticizing the person, the winner. By the way, this happened in Jamaica and the name is A. Campbell. And I think if they've said that, you're pretty much going to be able to guess, like, if I know an A. Campbell, I'll be knocking on their door.
But apparently it's a very common name.
It's a very common name.
And he won $1 million, like equivalent to $1 million. That's a lot of money.
Would you do it? Are you telling everyone? Because I get it.
Yeah, I get it.
I get it.
Get that. Yeah.
Why would you want to publicize the fact that you've won $1 million? Like, $1 million isn't going to move you to the fanciest neighborhood in the city. $1 million is going to set you up for life. It's going to set your closest loved ones around you up for life. Like, it'll give you all a little bit of...
you started, yeah.
Keep you going.
Depending on how you...
You don't want anyone to know that. Like... If I buy something expensive, I'm not telling people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You never do anyway. Because this guy in specific, like when you see the comments to the story, people are just like, then when people find out you've, you know, won a lottery or like anything good has happened to you, suddenly everyone wants to be your cousin, everyone wants to be your relative, everyone wants to be your friend, everyone wants to be, because then you don't know like who's legit, who's not, whatever it is. Yeah, and you don't want to be in that situation.
I think it's very surprising. I've had this conversation with people before about lending people money, and good people will always lend money when asked. But it's very surprising I know a friend who has lent a couple of people big amounts of money, and I'm like, it's like they know, and he's the type of guy that's never going to ask for it back.
Yeah,
you know, and in that case, he shouldn't tell people if he'd won $1 million, because people, as you said, everyone becomes your friend, and if someone comes to you with a story, doesn't matter who they are, you'd feel that little heart tug. So protect yourself from all of that.
That's so
Don't
true.
tell anyone you've won. Go and buy a Ferrari. No, I'm joking. Just protect yourself and give it to the people who you know need it, and give it to your actual close friends.
Yeah, that's what they say about like really well-off individuals, right? They don't show off their wealth. Like they're very low-key about it. They don't show off their brands. Yeah, quiet wealth, exactly. Because it's like, the more people know, like with the Kim Kardashian situation, right? The more publicized your wealth is, it can, like, you have the wrong eyes looking at you and the wrong eyes wanting to take advantage of you. So this...
Quiet wealth, a little known used phrase in Dubai. Honestly, it's like a new terminology that basically says you hide your wealth. So you keep it minimal, you keep it humble, you don't go out the big flashy spends, and you're wealthy, but no one needs to know about it apart from you and your smug little mind in your bank account, you know, because you keep it humble. Maybe, yeah. 8:53, let's jump into our top story. A hero's welcome. The UAE's hero astronaut Sultan Al Neyadi returns home after a 6-month space mission. That's right, Sultan Neyadi has returned to Earth on September 4th and landed at Abu Dhabi International Airport yesterday. I wonder if he saw Terminal A when he was met off the plane by his adorable 3 children. He then received a very warm welcome from the leaders of the UAE, and in a brief interview, he spoke about what he'll do on his return, which is what Simran and I had spoken about a couple of days ago. We were like, if you had been away for 6 months, what would you do? What's the first thing that you would do?
Like McDonald's, use the washroom, pizza. You?
Yeah, probably see people.
Yeah.
Hug your loved ones, like 6 months in space.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
One of the things he said was like the medical experts are still, you know, checking his body to see, you know, what type of radiation his body has, you know, has accepted, and the safety surrounding that. But what he said, he's going to pray, sleep. Of course, he's going to and then just meet everyone, like get out and about. Like he has done something that no man in Arab history has done before. So this has been, record breaking. So now he's going to take the chance to, teach people about science, teach people about space, and just get around and, get people excited about the future of space.
Honestly, I can't imagine how proud his family must be of him, like he's back in the UAE. His kids must be like, their father coming back after undertaking such a massive mission for the country and for Arabs, So it's just such a moment of pride.
And the cutest video, so they had a live feed of his return, and he was disembarking from what looked like the UAE governmental flight, and his 3 children were there, and it was his daughter and he has 2 sons, and they kind of I'm going to guess the ages of like 9 for the eldest son, maybe the daughter is about 8 or 9, and then the younger son was maybe 4 or 5, and the daughter and the younger son rushed forward and gave him the hug, and the elder son stood back and allowed like the littler kids their moment. And then Sultan was like, and then the big son runs in and they're having this like group cuddle, and you're just thinking this is the most adorable thing, because imagine for them how proud you would be of your dad. Like if you have a day in school when you can tell your classmates what your parents do.
Yes.
The smug walking in that day. Well,
but have you heard no introduction needed, Sultan al Neyadi? Yeah,
that's my dad. But also like scary for them.
Yeah, of course.
Scary.
Those
so
6
that
months.
Return, those 6, you really have no idea. Space is, it's a scary place for sure. There's no guarantees. So having him return as a hero and also just as your dad is just so special.
100%. And like we've grown up hearing some very scary stories of what happens out in space. And with Kalpana Chawla and how she, she just got lost, like was never found after her mission to space. And these kind of things, they haunt you, especially being his wife and being his mother, father. They just that concern is never ending until they're back, and you can breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah, massively.
Like my son is back, my husband's back. So just great moment for the UAE. And of course, and to mark the occasion, Dubai Airport is using a new stamp to mark the homecoming. The special stamp will only be used on September 18th and 19th. And the Burj Khalifa also illuminated in honor of Sultan al Neyadi's homecoming. So all really fun stuff going on there in the UAE. Big moment of pride for the country and Arabs everywhere. But we'll move on to our next story. You could soon travel by ship from the UAE to India. So get ready for an exciting voyage. Soon, a passenger ship service between the UAE and Kerala will be a reality, promising Indian expats a fun and budget-friendly way to travel. A UAE Kerala passenger ship service may become a reality in 2023, providing Indian expats with a convenient and affordable travel option. And you're probably asking yourself, how long will the trip take?
That's exactly what I'm asking. How long will it take? How much does it cost? Because it sounds like it could be quite a nice little trip to India,
Yeah.
Back to the olden days,
like
get on the boat, loads of luggage.
Yeah.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner all provided at one price. What a treat.
But the 2 things I'm scared of the most, space and the sea.
But you're in a massive ship.
Yeah, that's what everyone who got aboard Titanic said.
Oh, that's one story. God bless the people who passed through the Titanic. However, there's plenty of successful ship journeys. In comparison to like flights, ships are heaps safer.
Okay, now I'm scared of 3 things.
The UAE India passenger ship voyage spans 3 days. It can accommodate up to 1,250 passengers, and get this, your luggage allowance, Simran Gupta, is 200 kg. 200 kg for your luggage allowance. During the journey, travelers can savor dishes, diverse dining choices, and partake in onboard entertainment options. In terms of ticket prices, a passenger ship offers a significantly more budget-friendly alternative compared to flights. Interesting.
Oh my gosh, 200 kgs luggage allowance?
200 kgs. Look, if you're moving here, this is going to be a nice... Bring the house, bring the kitchen sink.
Well, it beats the 30 kgs for sure, and fares for the journey will vary between 442 dirhams, which is 10,000 rupees, and 663 dirhams, which is 15,000 rupees, depending on the travel period, with peak times falling towards the higher end of this price range. The ship's current itinerary includes 2 exciting destinations, which is Kochi and Baipuri. Kochi is a bustling city in Kerala, And it's got one of India's largest ports, and by port, a coastal gem situated in Kozhikode of Kozhikode of India's southwestern shoreline. And that's not all. There will soon be a line connecting the GCC to Europe and India, because according to G20 agreement, the Gulf Railway network may extend reach beyond GCC countries, potentially linking up with European cities such as London and Paris, paving the way for a transformative era of international rail connectivity.
So from shipping to sea, or from sea to train, the Gulf Railway is another proposed 2,117 km railway system connecting all 6 GCC countries. But construction on that one hasn't begun yet. But stay tuned. Keep your eyes peeled on increased connectivity across the GCC and beyond, which is just incredible.
I mean, these are such exciting updates with travel coming up, and that too from the G20 summit, and now we know this cruise is also coming up. So like a lot of things like will be changing in the next couple of years.
And also just more sustainable ways to travel. You know, I think that we know that using airlines isn't the most environmentally friendly thing, and they're looking at different types of oil to power the planes and everything in future, but also introducing more rail networks, making ships and making sea routes a more kind of available option, because it's just not really available in many cases, and
100%.
you have to resort to flights. It's like there's no options, but these options will mean in future, when our kids hopefully are growing up, they'll have different types of travel.
Exactly, more exciting avenues are going to be opening up for them. And Etihad Rail, I cannot wait for that to open up.
When do we have cargo routes?
Cargo routes? It's open up for cargo routes? Oh, but I mean, I haven't heard anything about it recently, so it's just like when I get the opportunity to go on it, it's like, it's like what you've been anticipating. Like UAE residents for the longest have just been anticipating getting on that train and using that service. So just, I mean, anything to do with trains is so exciting. Yeah,
it feels like who needs the train in Switzerland anymore? We have it right here. It's going to be super glamorous, we have no doubt. It's 9:01. We're going to jump into our next story. Popular meals in Dubai based on neighborhoods. So a delivery app has revealed the most popular takeaway dishes in different neighborhoods, from Dira all the way to JLT. Let's get your thoughts on this, and let's see how right this is, because some people are questioning its accuracy. I'll tell you that now. The takeaway map shows just how popular food is in these areas. Do you want to take the location and I'll go with the food?
Okay, let's do this. So Dubai Marina.
Apparently, the most sought-after meal in Dubai Marina is margarita pizza.
I so get that. Okay, Dera.
Crispy salmon skin sushi.
Downtown Dubai.
Rigatoni bolognese.
That sounds fancy. Yep, sounds about right. Greens.
Katsu curry.
JLT.
Birria, which is like a Mexican dish.
And Jumeirah.
Breakfast sandwich.
I get that. Jumeirah is a breakfast
sandwich spot?
Full on.
No way. 100%. That should be salmon skin sushi. Jumeirah. No,
that's more of marina. That's more of like downtown, I would say salmon skin sushi. Or
Business Bay salmon skin sushi.
Yes.
Jumeirah breakfast sandwich? I'm thinking there's...
Jumeirah. 100%.
Or like burgers. There's so many burger spots there. It's so great.
Burgers, I guess. But I think salmon skin sushi is more Business Bay in DIFC, right? Right? Yeah. Okay, Motor City.
Chicken sandwich.
Satwa.
Chicken strips.
Maybe.
So we obviously posted this on Instagram, created by Deliveroo, and it does make you think about all the amazing dishes that is coming out of Deliveroo to serve the masses. Now, what people said were they questioned Dira. The main question was Dira and the crispy salmon skin roll. They're thinking this is a shawarma area.
Yes.
They said it's more of a shawarma area. Then they said, what about dosa?
Yes.
And then people were like, why didn't you mention Dira? They should have put shawarma and Dira.
Like Karama is missing. Okay, dumplings, momos, dosas, like a lot of like key dishes of those areas are not there. Salmon skin sushi roll. So random.
It's just niche. Then they said Marina peeps be drinking coffee all the time. And then people are saying, where is the birria from? So that's the Mexican dish. And people are saying either Chalco's, love Chalco's, which is the JLT, or maize tacos. So they're obviously, there's some type of a good dish coming out, one there, and they're obviously smashing that over to birria. Authentic Mexican birria, apologies for the pronunciation, butchering, can be enjoyed as stew topped with onions, cilantro, and a squeeze of fresh lime. And you get it in tacos and things.
Oh, wow. It actually sounds quite...
Does sound great.
But, you know, I'm surprised how the staple food, takeaway food for JLT is not just pit fire pizza.
Yes.
And their garlic knots. Like,
well, no,
we survived on their garlic knots every day we were in JLT.
But JLT, low-key, is the best place for food in the city.
That's so true.
Right? Because you've got the Mexican, you have like Peruvian, you have ramen from... Oh, it's not really done.
Yes.
But there's just so much there. It's impossible to choose. Great. And then breakfast at Splendor Fields. It's just non-stop.
But we've chosen pit fire pizza, garlic knots for
pit
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And just any of the pizzas. It's just...
Oh, they had, what was the name of that restaurant? Common Grounds? Yeah, that was a good breakfast spot.
Is that in JLT?
Yeah.
Oh, in the building. Yes. And now they've opened Splendor Fields.
Oh, Splendor
which is even bigger, and it's open, and it's like, it's outdoor, indoor, so it's perfect for the winter. And it looks out onto the grass, and then they've got Hawker Boy upstairs.
Oh my God. And do you remember Bistro? The deli, I think they changed it to the deli.
Oh, Bistro Deli. We used to work. What cluster was that?
Cluster I.
Cluster I, our old Lovin office. Best coffees.
And croissants.
And almond croissants.
Oh my God, croissants. Can we just talk about croissants?
Only if...
Like the buttery...
Only if someone would just open that door and bring us... Crispy, warm.
You know, there is that perfect croissant and then the supermarket croissants, which just don't do any justice to croissants.
I counter that. I think sometimes you can find great croissants. There's a random, I've seen this thread on Facebook, and it's like, where is the best croissants? And you have all your fancy places, and there's one service station that people are like, this is the best croissant. It's like Costa does a really great almond croissant. You wouldn't expect it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Up there.
Stop.
Does anyone know the service station I'm talking about that does amazing almond croissants? If you do, please drop it in the comments. Much appreciation.
Hamptons have this rose croissant. Oh my God. If you're into like a little bit of sweetness, like rosiness with your croissant, that's so good. But honestly, the best one that we've had, would you not say, is from that Bistro?
Yeah, Bistro was really great.
Yeah.
I'd counter your rose with a pistachio from Society. Pistachio grip. It's impossible. They're all great. We digress.
But Carrefour does have good croissants.
Really?
Crispiness and stuff. But anyway, so we'll move on from food and talk about sustainability. Now, Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week will be hosted during COP28. The Connect Conference Center in Expo City, Dubai, will host the one-day Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week Summit on December 4th with the theme United on climate action at COP28.
It's so exciting, all of the big announcements that are coming for COP28, which is going to take place November, December. The meeting held on the COP28's thematic Finance Day will discuss topics like investing for inclusion and climate finance. It will also look for strategies for accelerating sustainable development. That's according to Masdar, who's the event's organizer. So COP28 is the first summit to assess the results of measures taken to prevent temperatures in the planet to increase above 1.5 degrees Celsius pre-industrial levels since the Paris Climate Agreement back in 2015.
So every 5 years, pledges to continue working towards the towards the goal would be evaluated at COP28 in the UAE. A global stock take, including participation from South Africa and Denmark, will be conducted for the first time. So we are seeing a lot of proposals and goal setting that's going to be taking place at COP28. That's going to happen right here in the UAE. And it's actually so interesting because if you go on their website like COP28 and you get to see like the goals and like aims they have in place until 2030 in terms of like reducing emissions by 47% and really focusing on all those topics that people, you know, like you want the focus on right now with global warming on, you know, like accelerate mode. You want these changes and actions being taken ASAP. So that is exactly what this whole gathering is for.
100%. And it's all happening between November 30th and December 12th at Expo. And no doubt we'll have key influential people from all over the world coming to descend on the UAE for those important initiatives to take place. Now it's 9:09, and next up we're tackling remarriage. So The Creature is a new short film by Home Centre which addresses remarriage and its effect on children. Stay tuned to watch the interview to learn more. Hey guys, welcome back to the Lovin Dubai Show. The Creature is a new short film by Home Centre which addresses a common occurrence in the region that's often looked at as taboo. To tell us more about it, we're joined by clinical psychologist and managing director at Lighthouse Arabia, Dr. Saliha Afridi, along with Mr. Siddharth Sivaprakash, who is head of marketing at Home Centre. Welcome to the show both. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey Casey, thanks for having us. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Saliha.
First of all, Home Centre has dropped a video that a lot of people are talking about. It's getting a lot of attention. It's playing right beside us right now, by the way. Give us a little bit of an idea of how the story unfolds.
All right, so this is really our across homes in the Middle East, and how as a brand we could sort of shine a bit of light on that, bring a level of awareness, level of progressiveness to how society views certain situations like this, which are otherwise considered taboo or have been in the past. So the film's really about a child who's going about his regular day, his regular time at home. But he seems to have this creature, this larger than life creature that really almost looks like he's invading his space, sort of violating his space, his time with his mom. At every turn, this creature is just there in his house, in his space, in his mind, and it's quite invasive, really. And that's really the narrative that we take the audience through, about how there's this unruly creature within this child's life that just won't let go of him. And there's rejection, there's anguish, there's anger. There are a lot of sort of really heavy mixed emotions coming through in the film as we sort of weave through the narrative. Slowly but steadily you see that change to not resignation, but almost hope and giving this creature a chance, until in the end of the film you find out that that creature is really someone who's decided to step up for this child, and is trying to do right by this child. And that's really what the film is about. It's about those men who decided to step up for families who may not have started off being their own, and coming in as stepdads and playing that role that either a biological father is not present to play or could never play.
Yeah.
And that's what the story is really about.
And it's truly beautiful. I'd recommend everyone to take a watch. It's also very emotive, and it's, as you said, it's discussing the topic of remarriage, which can be considered taboo. Can you shed light on the perception of remarriage in the region and also the challenges around it?
I'm going to let the expert take that question.
I think remarriage is a tricky subject everywhere in the world, but particularly here in the Middle East, where these deeply rooted values of family cohesion, the family unit, divorce and remarriage can be seen quite as a taboo and quite stigmatized still. There's so many challenges that are a result of remarriage, whether it is blending families, financial issues, stress, emotional stress, adjustment issues, the grief of what life was, what life is now, this kind of invasive experiences that you can have of the other parent being in the house when you've actually been alone with your parent for a while. So, there's a lot of personal struggles as well as societal judgment that a person experiences, and that is particularly harsher for women that are remarrying than it is for men. But men also have their own set of struggles that that can be quite painful for people to experience.
Speaking of societal judgment, times are changing, and we hope that things can be looked at a little bit differently now. But do you think we are becoming more progressive? But do you think times are changing fast enough?
So, from everything that we've seen and the response to this film itself, I think if that's anything to go by, I think there's definitely a more progressive view on such situations and really life moments. I mean, no judgment here. I think from a brand perspective, it was really for us to push a level of acceptance, which I think it deserves. That's really my view on it. I don't know if you have anything to add.
Well, for sure, there are shifting, and within the younger generations, as well as within urban communities, it is shifting quite a bit when it comes to how people perceive remarriage. However, we have a long way to go, especially where we are in areas or in communities, local cultures, because it's so wrapped in religious, cultural, local norms that it's hard to say, well, yes, we are progressing, just plainly. But we are moving in the right direction. And I think whenever we're thinking about shifting public opinion, we have to think about having positive representation, open dialogue, and education. And I think videos like this are really what this is about. It is about having an open dialogue. Shows like this is about having open dialogue about a topic that most people just don't want to talk about.
100%. When you hear people having a conversation, it may make your struggles at home less difficult. So to have the conversation is one thing, but for a brand to get behind it is a whole other ball game. So what actually inspired Home Centre to get involved in this topic?
And I think I'll take a page out of what Dr. Saliha just mentioned previously, which is we're a mass brand. We're across the region. We're across 7 nations. We have a massive footprint. We're over 25 years old in the region. So for us, it was almost to take a step to make conversations like this become mainstream. And I think representing topics and themes like this in as mainstream as possible really helps push that societal narrative along, pushes a level of acceptance, I think shows the human and emotional side to it, which is a lot more endearing. I mean, keeping aside social norms and pressures and taboos and religious and cultural influences, I think at the crux of it, it's a human life stage. And I think really recognizing that for us was important. And we're hoping through all our initiatives, it spurs more conversations like this. That's really what the objective is.
Well, it's amazing because, yes, talking about it is important, but actually it would be great to use this platform to delve a little bit deeper into the issues that actually affect people going through remarriage, children in particular. So, Dr. Saliha, if you could shed light on that while we have this open floor, that would be amazing.
Sure. So blended families go through their own set of struggles. Of course, remarriage is hard for every individual, but individuals who have children or there is a child that is now going into a blended family, that can bring a whole host of issues that just need to be considered. Things like adjustment. Adjustment is a huge issue. Who is doing what, when, how, with how many times, the custody and shifting between families and going, and whenever you're in a traditional society such as those that are in the Middle East, we have extended families that play a big role. So how do you navigate that between, because it's not just the family unit, but it is multiple family units that we are talking about. So it's mostly related to parenting issues, and that just trickles down into putting that pressure onto the parents that are then holding that. And that can cause a lot of difficulty, a lot of argument, and so it really needs you to be quite strategic about how you enter into that space. It's not like go with the flow. You've got to be prepared as to having these conversations beforehand, thinking about how are you going to co-parent with your ex, how are you going to blend your child in and not force that step parent into that space. So it is, and I would recommend speaking to a professional about this because it requires a lot of thought and consideration, alongside with just your own issues, your own feelings, your own grief, your own pain that you might have to process. So those are just some of the things. And then ongoing issues like financial issues and custody issues, those can put a lot of pressure on a blended family.
So interesting, just in terms of resources for people watching, anyone who's going through a remarriage, whatever their background may be, who can they reach out to for help? Are there resources that they can get in touch with?
For sure, there are plenty of mental health clinics here in the UAE and then across the region as well. There are people, I mean, divorce is no longer something that people are not experienced with. Like every clinician will know how to deal with that. But when it comes to co-parenting, when it comes to remarriage, I would really find a professional that actually knows that space. So work with people that have experience in that, and there are many clinics that you can contact, including the Lighthouse Arabia. And then I would say there are support groups. So we have a support group at the Lighthouse Arabia. These are free of charge. And so I know that when it comes to remarriage, divorce, it can be quite expensive. And so sometimes people want to get that help, but they don't know where to go. And that divorce support group actually is a free support group where you have a experienced clinician helping you navigate that space. We have a single parent support group as well, so that it would be another place where you might want to have some of these conversations. And then, of course, there are legal professionals that can help you navigate this space, as well as online support groups that you can access.
It's amazing. So the resources are there for people, and also, as we've already mentioned, amazing that Home Centre is bringing this conversation to the floor. Do you think you'll continue to address topics such as remarriage?
Absolutely. That's the simplistic answer to that. So as a brand, in the last 5 years, we've actually gone after a few themes that we feel don't get spoken about nearly enough in the region, from including single moms and sort of tipping our hat to them on Father's Day in 2020, to talking about fostering and adoption and the legalities around that and the emotional stresses around that in the region, to now talking about how stepdads, the dynamic that evolves within a blended family or a remarriage situation where what the child's probably going through, or what even the man who's sort of come into this family and taken on this family, not as a savior, but just in terms of real emotions that get that come into play here. And I think these are the kind of topics that we will continue to go after and try to shed light on, try to bring a level of awareness, try to bring it to the surface, because at the crux of the brand, we're about enabling every home to tell its own unique story. A lot of these stories don't get told enough, so I think it writes itself into the sort of moral fabric of who we are.
So true. I love that, to finish on such an important note, that every home does tell its own unique story. It's really beautiful. For people who are watching, they're probably watching the full edit beside us, but they can't hear the music behind it. How can they go and watch the full edit right now? So
it's on our YouTube channel. So just search for Home Centre on YouTube. It's on our Instagram as well. I have to give a special mention about the music. It is an original composition by the person who directed the film as well. It's quite a strong metaphor that runs right through the film, but how a lighthouse and a boat and the relationship between that is really metaphorical about a father and a child, and how they sort of learn from each other, how they sort of guide each other through this void that they're both trying to sort of fill. Mm-hmm. So it's quite beautiful. You can find it across all our channels. Amazing. And the film's called The Creature, so it should be easy to find.
Amazing. Both of you, thank you so much for your time and for bringing this conversation up to us today. Dr. Saliha, Mr. Siddharth, that is all we have time for on the show this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Goodbye from me.
Thank you very much, Casey.
Thank you.